what can you tell fans of this remarkably successful series of films?
Oh man, I can't say much, but what I can say is, I mean, you know, Scream is back, and Scream, I feel like, has always been a movie for horror buffs. I feel like it makes horror buffs out of people. I remember being like 4 years old, and it was like my first Halloween trick-or-treating. And I went out, and Scream, the original, had just come out, and all of a sudden I saw around me in that neighborhood, like, every other kid was wearing a Ghostface costume,
right?
And it traumatized me. I was like, no, thank you. Nope. I don't want to see more of this. Right. There was one kid that had like a translucent Ghostface mask that you could like pump fake blood down, so it looked like it was. It's still in my nightmares. It's terrible. But if you had told my 4-year-old self that I would one day be in a Scream movie, he would run away crying. But I'm glad that I am. Eventually, I started watching more horror movies and finally faced my fear. Got to the original Scream, and it made a horror fan out of me.
Right.
It's a kind of a gateway drug to horror, in a way. That's how I like to describe it, because it's always making, it's a great movie, but it's also making references to other horror movies. So you want to go out and watch those, and I did. So I think for the Scream fans, I can say this is a love letter to you. You're really going to get a kick out of it. And Scream still has your back. Like I think it's scary. I think it's funny. It still has that meta commentary to it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm very biased, but I love it.
Well, I mean, so clearly, you're a man of your own right. We'll talk about The Boys in a second. But did you fanboy any of your cast members?
Yeah.
When you first got to see, because there's some original cast in this. Obviously, Neve Campbell, who's coming here on Tuesday.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
great.
Indeed. We're excited about that.
She's
Courtney
the best.
Cox, David Arquette, just to name a few. Did you fanboy any of these folks?
I call them the OG three, and yes, I fanboyed over all of them. They're all incredible. David Arquette, I think I had just watched. Have you seen his documentary?
Yes, it's kind of all nutty.
It's good. I loved it so much. Right. I just watched it, and I met him, and I was like, I don't know how to compliment somebody on a documentary about themselves. Yes. I was like, you were so good in your documentary. Like, he's not acting. I don't know why. Like, you existed in it, and I enjoyed it.
You were great playing yourself, even though you were doing just nothing but being yourself.
Exactly.
Because it's about yourself.
You were yourself very well.
Right.
Right. But he was the best. He taught us all how to paint.
What?
Yeah. He is a certified Bob Ross painting instructor.
Come on.
Yeah. Of course he is.
Like, he's the guy, again, with the afro who talks about the beautiful clouds and stuff like. Does he do that commentary as he's painting as well?
Yeah, it's like I guess took a course in Florida or something and got certified, and he's actually allowed to teach the Bob Ross painting technique. And
what?
Yeah, this is a real. This is why I love David. This is real.
Wow.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That wasn't in the documentary.
No, but there should be a whole separate documentary about David all about painting, I think.
Okay.
But he had us all down in this common room, like all the new cast members, and we all just he just led a class. Like, he would look over and check everybody's work. I still have my painting that I made in my place.
What did you paint?
Some happy little trees, a lake and a mountainscape, and it was it was very, very relaxing. It was great.
Happy little trees.
Happy little trees.
Because, again, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you become certified, it's got to be more than just teaching someone how to paint. You have to have that voice. Yeah. It's got to be soothing. Like, you can't be manic, right?
No.
Is that part of
he's a very calm person. Like, in the movies, he's very, because we all have to be scared all the time. We all have to be a little bit more, manic, but he's very calm. David, to me, is a very calming presence. And that, that whole session was just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something that makes me better for having known it, to be very honest with you.
I like to share it with the world.
Jack
as often
Quaid
as I can.
here on the Rich Eisen Show, and that's an original that you're painting. That's an original. And so then what was it like to actually do this film, like actually perform it?
It was amazing. I mean, like, I've done like one horror movie before called Tragedy Girls, and that kind of had a lot. It was inspired by Scream, but this, I don't know, just to be within the actual franchise,
right?
Something so iconic was you know, when I got cast, I couldn't really believe it. I still can't believe it. But to work alongside legends like that, and then to work with this new group of castmates was amazing, because we shot it during, I was about to say the height of the pandemic, but just the pandemic, which we're still in.
Right.
But we shot it there, and it was
in North Carolina.
in North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out to Wilmington.
There we go.
I love you. But you know, I had just gone from being very isolated, and then to get this job and to get to interact with people again, and to have them be really cool. Like, you know, it's a cliche, but it felt like summer camp where we all just kind of became one big family, and there was a lot of love there. And it's also a movie about murder. So it was an odd balance, but it was one of the best experiences I've ever had shooting anything.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.